What is up, everyone? This is MNL2 and welcome back to another episode of Building Tatsu. In the last episode we completely finished building the station, but the only thing we need to do left to the station is add lighting, and we did the roof and all that, and we also started the lift hill. So if you haven't joined my Discord server, then this is the first time you've seen my scaled track, and you can tell it's actually pretty big. And so in this episode we're going to be completely finishing the lift hill, and you know, if you think that it's kind of weird that we're spending an entire episode just on the lift hill, you're going to see soon enough that there's going to be a lot of detail into the lift hill. And I do know that in the previous episodes I have stated that I'm not going to be building supports for anything. Well, I kind of will, but I'm not going to be completing them. I'm going to be building the supports attaching to the track. However, I'm not going to make them attached to the ground yet because, like I said in previous episodes, Tatsu contains a lot of terraining, and it's going to affect the footers and where the placement of the supports are going to be. But it's not going to change where the supports are going to attach to the track. So if you're wondering what I'm doing right now, I'm adding supports to the track, which are also going to connect to the catwalk and the groove on the side underneath the track that takes the emergency exit thing up, if you know what I'm talking about. We're going to be building that today, but right now we're building the lift hill a lot higher, because like if you saw in the last episode, obviously that's not going to be the height of the lift hill. It's going to go a lot taller. That was just to start it off so that I knew where I was going. And if you're wondering why it keeps stopping like that, like the video keeps buffering like that, there was a recording error. I don't know if it was in the computer or the Elgato, but it came out like it kind of buffered every now and then. It's not that bad. You can still tell pretty much what's happening, so sorry about that. But yeah, anyway, if you're enjoying the series, please remember to like and subscribe. And if you want to see teaser updates and screenshots and all that, then please join my Discord server by clicking the link in the description. So right now we're continuing up with the beam, and I think there's a total of like 6 or 7 supports that go up all the way to the lift hill. And in this episode we're going to be curving it off, and basically we're going to build all the way up until it makes its first turn. And speaking of which, if you guys want me to build Sky Tower, then please let me know in the comments, because if I do, then that's likely going to be in the next episode. But I'm not sure yet, because if you know about anything about Tatsu, Sky Tower does sit right in the middle of Tatsu's first turn into the first 0G roll. So I thought it would be kind of cool and iconic to add Sky Tower, but I don't know if I want to spend that much time on it, or if I should just build the coaster. But another thing is, I don't know if I'm actually going to build a chain. In this episode I didn't, but like there's no actual visible chain, it's just track. So I don't know if I'm going to end up doing anything to that. I'm not sure so far. So this is pretty repetitive up all the way up the lift hill with the beams and the rails. And if I didn't do it in this episode, but in a little test world that I have, like with the prototype, the rail, if you're wondering like how come I'm putting gaps in between, like, alright, you see where these supports touch the track, you can see how there's a gap, and why I didn't just fill that in, because the track, like the actual rails where the minecart's actually going to travel on, is going to go on top of the yellow beam. And I did do a few tests, and I was kind of considering putting it on one of the rails, but like, there were several factors that made it didn't work, that made it not really seem like it would work very well. And so now I think I was like taking a look at it or something, but we're continuing all the way up. And right now all those supports are just left like that, but we're going to come back to them later to finish them. Like right now they're all just a bit of a horizontal beam. And so I'm going really tall because this thing is huge. Like when I turned render clouds on, in like off camera, it went like almost twice as high as the render clouds. I'm not exactly entirely worried about me running out of space height wise, because I mean I already finished, like by the time I'm recording this, I already finished building this, and I already know that, you know, there was enough height, because that's going to be the tallest point in the ride anyway. I'm just worried about if there's enough space in the world, because the section of the coaster where the pretzel loop is and the heartline roll towards the end with the 270-degree turnaround. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough space to go all the way down there. So I've already, discussed this issue in the last episode. Speaking of which, if you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, you should probably have watched them before watching this one, because then you'll be caught up to where I am. Alright, so right now I think I'm about to do the curving off of the top of the lift hill on Tatsu. And like I've stated several times, I don't do linear, even though that this coaster particularly has technically a linear ascension, that's because that's actually the correct angle for this particular ride. But that doesn't mean every single coaster should have a linear ascension. But regardless, you still shouldn't have it. If it is a linear ascension, then you still shouldn't have it so that its descension, or at least its transition into the descension, is just a linear, so it makes a triangle. Like that should never happen. And so that's why I'm curving it off, because if you look at it, yes, it is like really curvy. And another thing, if you're wondering why I'm building it so huge, the bigger you build in Minecraft, the more details you can theoretically add, and that's very true for this creation, because I don't think I can add so many details with a smaller creation. I would just have either a yellow block or a red block or an orange block representing the entire track as a 1-to-1 scale. But this, I haven't named the scale exactly because it's I guess we can just call it the B&M scale, because it is basically only going to represent B&M track, or Giovanola track if you really felt like it. But I already recreated Goliath as a 1-1 scale, so yeah. But right now we're completing the beam for the curve down, and this is the slight little pre-drop to allow the train to detach from the chain. Train and chain rhymes. And so we're going to fill in the bottom here. And then we're gonna go back, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna add the rest of the cross ties, and it's buffering more. And I made sure that cross tie was right in the middle, and so we're gonna go ahead and continue adding them down. And I think they're spaced apart every 4 blocks or something like that, 4 or 5 blocks. And then we have to add the rails, which are gonna connect to the cross ties like so. Alright, and then we're good with that. Now I'm just gonna add the rails in. Yeah, I'm sorry if this buffering is annoying. It's annoying for me too. But it would be even more annoying for me to have to destroy everything I made and rebuild it, because this took a very long time to create. It may not seem like it because it's going really fast from your perspective, but when I was actually building this, it took way longer than it really could have. Because if any other person was just to build like a 1-1 scale lift hill, this would take about 5 seconds. But this definitely took not like 5 seconds, like maybe 5 hours. Okay, not 5 hours, maybe I think this took around 2 to 3 hours, something like that, doing all this. And then we're gonna add the supports at the top here, and I believe the supports on the very center top only go out in one direction. And yeah, that's another thing. Only use reference pictures when you're recreating rides, because these supports were all analyzed by me when I was looking at reference pictures. I'm not just making these supports up, and the supports were actually the way they were in pictures. I used several pictures. I even used Google Maps, and yeah. So right now we're going back to the supports towards the bottom of the lift hill, and we're actually going to go ahead and do these. And so half the supports don't touch the ground. About half of them only support the catwalk and the groove to I don't know what to call it, but there's a little groove which allows the emergency platform for if there's a ride evac, then it can allow riders to evacuate safely. But it's an electronic platform that slides up underneath the track on the lift hill. And there's 2 grooves. There's one on the left side, which is what I'm building right now, just this little skinny thing where the wheels go into, and then the one on the other side is attached to the catwalk. So I don't really know what to call it, but that's what I just explained. That's what this is that I'm building right now. It's one of the attachments to the emergency platform for an emergency ride evac. but I don't think they've ever had to use that. So, you know, obviously it's not going to be operable in my recreation, but I am going to be building the platform toward like where it would sit regularly on, like on the ride on Tatsu itself. It sits at the very bottom of the lift hill, so that's where I built it, which also came from reference pictures. And so basically I just copied exactly the same curve with the groove. I'm just gonna be calling it the groove. I copied the original track, like the regular track, and built it as a groove further down. And this right now is an actual support that's going to be touching the ground. And what you're going to be noticing about like pretty much everything in this creation so far is that it's going to be floating because I haven't done any terraining, and that's probably going to become like one of the last things I do. And so this just kind of like those supports are just going to stop right there, but those are going to continue in that same pattern all the way to the ground, which I haven't built yet. But I at least know that it's going to go at least that far down, and if it's not, then I can correct it later. And so we're going to the next support, and this one I believe doesn't actually touch the ground. It's just going to support the groove and the catwalk. And in this episode I'm pretty sure I built the catwalk either very last or really close to last, so we're not going to be seeing that catwalk soon. But we're still building the supports, and if you've noticed these little rings that I'm building around it, those are to represent where the two two pipes of the supports combine, like where they're bolted together. And these aren't off my mind. These are just I need to stop saying that, off my mind. These are off reference pictures. So like I made sure to look to where these actually are, where the two pipes combine and are bolted together. And I tried to represent that as closely as accurately as possible, because that's what recreating a ride is supposed to be. You're supposed to be trying to make it as detailed and as close to the real thing as possible. And so right now this support right here particularly, this one was at a slight angle, so this one kind of took a longer to build than the other ones. And so yeah, it's a bit buffery, so it's a bit hard to tell what I'm doing, but basically what I'm doing is I think it's going like every 9 blocks it's going to shift over one, and it's a 2x2 pipe, and so that's going to go down pretty far. And it does the same thing on the other side, just in the opposite direction. And then again, but it also has a beam going across to support both the groove and the catwalk. And and once again, this doesn't go all the way to the ground, but it is going to touch the ground eventually when I build the ground, because the ground, like the ground that you see isn't actually the ground. Like that's all going to be modified and terrained, which is going to take a long time, and that's going to be one of the last things we do. And another thing, this one also had another beam coming, or another support beam coming out of this one, and it just adds extra stability and support. And I think I brought that one down all the way to where the other one was, and this kind of took a while to figure out with trial and error, because I was obviously using reference pictures. So you know, I had to figure out where it was in relation to the other beam, but I'm pretty sure I got that figured out. And this one actually has an angle shallower than the other one. I think it goes down like every 6 blocks and then shifts over one. But this one's gonna, like the one I'm building right now, only goes 9 blocks, or goes 9 blocks and then shifts. So this one's the same. This one's a mirror image of the other beam on the other side. But this one doesn't have the secondary beam coming out of it. Almost done there, because this is gonna continue. These two are gonna continue the same pattern all the way down to the ground, and the ground is on Tatsu. The way it works is I'm pretty sure there's a descent of, like, I think the ground descends a bit, but however where the station is, that's on pretty much almost on ground level, like it's a bit above ground level. So it's, the ground is gonna start higher and then it's gonna descend to where pretty much where the ground is, like actually is now. So I don't know if that makes much sense, but you know, if you follow with the series, then you'll be able to see what I mean eventually in a few months. So now I'm just trying to add the, I'm not sure what to call these rings. Like, I don't know what their technical name is, or the two supports where two beam pipes merge and where they're bolted together. So I'm just gonna call them buckles because why not? And I make sure that I add these buckles on both sides of the supports and make sure they're equal. And this one I'm building right now doesn't touch the ground. This one's just to support the groove and the catwalk. And so now on to the final support, and this one actually only comes on one side of the track and it goes all the way to the ground. Now this one's cool because it has one straight down beam and then one angled beam, basically a traditional double beam. And so this one also connects to the groove, and I had a bit of trial and error here to see what looked good with it and make sure I had it matched and all that with the groove. And I figured that out, and then I'm going to continue building the support all the way across. And so the support that connects to the support that goes underneath the groove and the catwalk, it's still present, but it doesn't come back up because the vertical beam only attaches to one side of the track. One side of the support on one side of the track, while every other single one attaches to both sides. This is probably going to be like this beam that I'm building right now is going to be one of the more common beams, one of the more common supports support styles that are going to be present throughout the entire coaster. And so this one, I think it has like 6 or 7 and then down, I don't know. Don't quote me on this. Like, if you're trying to also follow along and recreate this too, like, I can't remember what the descent of the secondary beam was. Something like that. But they both touch the ground, but the ground is obviously not going to show up until another bunch of episodes. But right now we're finishing that up, and then I think we have to add some buckles, so we're doing that right now. And I think that's it for that support. And let's see, now there's just one more little support right here, and I forgot what it really, like, it's not necessarily like an actual support. It does attach to the groove and the catwalk, but it's mainly just a ladder to get to the top of the track for some reason. Why you'd want to do that. And so right now I think I'm working out the catwalk. So yeah, I'm about to build the catwalk right now, and this kind of took a while because there are a lot of steps to building the catwalk. Had to build the sides of it, the rails, and the stairs. So yeah, that kind of took a while, and I had to go all the way up and down the thing. And so the very last support at the very top of the lift hill, the one I just was mentioning with the little one, that one I think is yeah, I remember now, that's the last thing we're going to be building in this episode. So right now we're going to actually build a little, like the area, I don't know how to describe this, where basically when you come out of the station there's concrete down there, and it has a stairway up into the catwalk stairs that go with the lift hill. So that area right here is what we're going to be working on. But I'm building the very first support because this one actually, like, this is actually where the ground level is gonna be for this section. So that one I actually knew where to put it, but like everywhere else I didn't know. So this right here is also still gonna be catwalk, and like I said, there's that emergency platform that I'm gonna be building, and it's gonna be attached to the catwalk and the groove. And so we had to get something from inventory, which was polished diorite. So right now we're adding a footer to this beam because, like, this is one of the only beams. This is one of the 2 beams that are actually going to be like completely finished in this episode. Because I actually know, like, this is where the ground level is going to be for this particular section of the ride. But I'm pretty sure from there where I built that diorite, I think it's a downward descension. It might be an upward and then a downward, something like that. I'll have to check, look at reference pictures and all that. So I can't tell you right now. But there are some concrete stairs that go up into, like, I'm not going to use actual concrete because that'll just make it look smooth like the ride. But like, there were some, I'm pretty sure it's just concrete or maybe just stone stairs that go up into the catwalk, which is just metal. And so right now I'm building the rest of this footer. That looks nice, and then gonna be building the, I think this was just stone stairs that I don't know, it was either stone or concrete, but I used polished diorite to represent it, and the stairs look literally exactly like this. I'm just basically matching the color of the thing to, you know, a color that in Minecraft would look like it. So now I'm taking actual stone because this was concrete, I know that, and like there was just a big flat section that was just concrete, and I don't know, it's just, I guess they just added concrete instead of having just grass and dirt there, so that you can access the stairs easily. And so right now I'm finishing off building. Alright, so the way it looked was they had these like normal stairs which were represented with the polished diorite, and then they had like not actual stairs, but it basically looked like giant stairs like that I'm representing with stone right now. It basically looked like 3 giant stairs, but like they're not actually stairs, but that's how it actually looks in the ride if you looked at a reference picture or a POV and you just saw it right there. So trust me, like I'm not making this stuff up, it's actually from in the real ride. So we're gonna be doing other beam right now, and then yeah, this has to come out a lot further, so the stone is what I'm talking about. And so right now I'm filling all that in, and then I'm building one of the bigger stairs, or it's not a stair, it's like, it's obviously not a stair, but like it looks like a gigantic stair pretty much. And then that beam right there, the one that's kind of hanging off the edge right here, that one's also gonna have a footer, so that's what I'm pretty sure I'm about to build. Yep, building the footer right now, and it's buffering. Then we're gonna go, yeah, this one had a really big footer, and that's I represented off of reference pictures, and I think I have to come out with the stone more. I think I do, yeah, I do. And that's pretty sure that's it with the stone. Or nope, I still have to add another stair that goes up underneath the polished diorite. And then I'm going to pretty sure go and continue with the staircase, like the catwalk stairs. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, the giant stone stairs it basically attaches to the normal catwalk, and then after that it doesn't do anything else. It just has a flat section, and then it just stops. And I think that's when it transitions into like like normal terrain, like grass or dirt or whatever. So right now I'm building the sides of the catwalk, and I'm coming back down here and building a larger flat section for stone, because instead of grass there, they just had stone there and stuff. And so I'm pretty sure this was like another footer, I think, or something like that. I don't know. This is like, oh, okay, I remember now. This right now is basically a footer for the groove. Like the groove comes down and attaches into that footer right there. And I think right now I'm about to build, and I'm going to continue building the sides for this, but I think after that I'm going to be building the emergency platform, and it is going to look a little bit odd and weird, but like it was kind of hard to build. It's just a really minor detail, so I mean, like 99% of people recreating this probably wouldn't build this anyway, so yeah, I'm just trying to put as much detail into this recreation as possible. And so right now I'm getting out the materials from my inventory to build the emergency platform, and that's what this iron is right here. Obviously it's at an angle because it ascends at an angle, so that's why it's gonna look a little bit weird. But now I'm gonna be building the handrail for this, and it only has one handrail because on the other side it literally has the handrails of the catwalk, because it goes all the way up one side of the catwalk. And then I tried to get some colors that matched the way I saw it in reference pictures. And yeah, so that's the emergency platform. Obviously it's not really that like detailed or anything, but the fact that it's there is a detail, because like I said like a few seconds earlier, 99% of people recreating this ride probably wouldn't build that emergency platform anyway. But since it's a component of the ride, and it's actually a pretty major component of the ride, because if there was an emergency and like there would have to be a ride evac, then like there'd be no other way to do it unless you had that platform. So right now I'm continuing all the way up to the top with the what do you call this? The one side of the catwalk, and I'm just copying. It's basically an exact copy of the groove on the other side. It's gonna have catwalks on them, and so I'm just trying to like make sure that the other one is right and all that. And then yep, then I have to go all the way back down here and do it on the other side. And so right now we're basically going into like super hyperspeed mode, because this is just I don't know, it's not speeding up yet, sorry. But after I finish building this side of the catwalk side, it's basically going to go into like hyperspeed mode, because I'm coming back down here. Now I'm just going to be building the actual stairs. And even though because this is a huge scaled recreation, the stairs are built to the actual scale, so even though I can't just normally walk up the stairs like a normal staircase, you still can walk up them. You just have to jump every step. But I'm just explaining why it's like that. But if you do look at the staircase, there are gaps in between each stair, so it's like, if you really wanted to, you could like drop something underneath the stairs. But now I'm going ahead and building the handrails to the catwalks, and that's one side done, and then I come all the way down to the bottom and build the other. Yeah, it's super sped up because it's pretty repetitive. It's literally just filling this up. It took nowhere near as long as filling in the roof of the station like in the last episode. But it is kind of a pain placing iron iron fences and glass panes and stuff, so this part kind of took a while. And so right now I'm going, and remember I was referring to the little tiny support earlier. Yep, that's what I'm doing right now. And there was at the end of the catwalk, there's a ladder that goes up to the top. I don't know exactly why, or like what they could even do up there, but like it leads to the very top of the actual top of the track, like where the beam is, like where I'm going to be placing the actual rail, like the rails for the track, the coaster for the minecart to travel on. So yeah, there is a ladder in here, and it's kind of weird shaped or looking. It was kind of hard to actually build this part, but this is another thing where it's like this, just building it by itself is a detail, because a lot of people wouldn't even bother building this, and most people wouldn't even look at reference pictures. They would just they see what Tatsu looks like in their mind, and they just build it. And that's how I was too. Like when I first built my first recreations, the original Twisted Colossus. If you've seen that, it's like one of the oldest recreations I have, and my Full Throttle one. Yeah, a lot of them are like basically everything before let's say I don't know, I forgot when I started looking at reference pictures, but I've definitely been doing it for a long time. So other than getting away from the topic of that, I'm pretty sure we have completely finished the lift hill. So like I said in the beginning of the episode, you're wondering it took an entire episode to build a lift hill. Well, this is why. If you take a look at this thing, there is a ton of detail in it, and it looks great in my opinion. If you don't think so, then sorry, this is how it looks in my mind, so that's how I decided to build it. And there's that little platform area. I think it looks nice. And so there's the station from the last episode, and I do have to add lighting like I said earlier. But if you like it too, then please tell me in the comment sections and leave a thumbs up on this video. And also please remember to subscribe for more, join my Discord server, and stay tuned for more episodes. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.